Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today, we're going to review the Stuhrling 1000 2-register chronograph. Let's start with the wrist check. Since I'm reviewing a Stuhrling, I decided to do a Stuhrling wrist check. I'm wearing my Stuhrling Formula I VK63 powered chronograph, and Grego is wearing my Stuhrling GMT Pepsi. Grego told Master Skywalker that he saw a puppet show being performed at a small town near the academy. One of the puppets looked like the X-Wing pilot Porkins, and the other looked like Obi-Wan Kenobi, who kept hitting Porkins with his lightsaber. Master Skywalker said, "Oh, that is a traditional Pontian Jedi show." Alright, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this really long box, and I don't know what they were thinking about this box. It's just very inconvenient. This is going to be a pain to ship back when I sell it to somebody. But here it is. We got the warranty card and the instructions, and I got a little piece of case back protector on that, and the cleaning cloth, pretty small one. Now, most Stuhrlings come in boxes like this. I don't know why they gave me this long one. Once again, this is probably going to increase my shipping costs when I sell it. But here is the watch. It is a nice looking watch. I've been happy with it for the most part, except for look at that chronograph hand. That's seriously misaligned, and not just a little bit, a lot. And unfortunately, this is a VK64, and I can't fix it. I haven't had a lot of Stuhrlings on my channel, which might surprise some people, as I have used a Stuhrling in my opening title ever since I started my channel. Plus, the review of that particular GMT Pepsi, one of my most popular reviews ever, with over 13,000 views. But I went the AliExpress route as it was a little bit more affordable for my self-funded channel. This Stuhrling 1000 was my latest Watch Gang Black Tier selection. At least this time, Watch Gang sent me something you can actually buy, as too often they have sent me discontinued watches. Stuhrling loves to put the word original on their watches, but most of their watches are homage watches or highly derivative. I'm sure I've seen this design before, but it never fails. I searched and searched for it, but couldn't find it. Please leave a comment if you know what it's homaging. This watch comes in 6 different colorways. Personally, if I would have had my choice, I would have chose the steel case with the gold dial, but the black with orange that they sent me probably would have been my second choice. They all look pretty nice. The watch is 44.5 millimeters at the bezel, so it's a fairly big watch. And since it doesn't have a bezel with a tachymeter on it, the dial looks a lot bigger. It's 49.6 millimeters lug to lug, which isn't bad for a watch this size. It's 11.6 millimeters thick, so it's fairly thin. Has a 22 millimeter lug width, which tapers down to 18 at the buckle. It weighs 75 grams on the splide leather strap. So we have an inner bezel with the minute counters. And then we have the Rehot chapter ring that has the tachymeter on it. And then we have the minute markers and indices. And then we have the dial itself. It's a black with no sunburst effect. There is a sunburst effect though on the subdials. Then it says Stuhrling Original up top. Then it says Chronograph on the bottom. And then we have the hands. I'm not sure what to call this design of hands. I think they're Dauphine, but it's hard to tell because you can't see the base of them. And then we have the large second chronograph hand, and there is no running small second hand because this is a VK64. Then we have a date at the 6. The date wheel is not color matched. It would have been nice if it was color matched, but it's not. Then on the right subdial, we have the 24-hour indicator, and on the left subdial, we have the chronograph minute counter. Then we have the sign push-pull crown. You get 50 meters of water resistance. And then we have the pushers. As you can see, the pushers don't lock. Top pusher starts the chronograph. And this is a mecha quartz, so you get a smooth sweeping large chronograph hand. Press again to stop, press again to reset. And once again, it is misaligned. And a VK64, there is no way to realign it without pulling the hand. And unfortunately, since it is a VK64 and it has that instant snapback, if you pull the hand, you have to use Loctite when you put it back on, because otherwise, when you reset it, it will fall off. So if you're not really precise with your Loctite, you're better off taking this to a watch person if you get one that's misaligned. Then we have the crystal. The crystal is Cristerna. This is Stuhrling's proprietary brand of crystal. And I like Cristerna. I'm a big fan of it. It's a lot more scratch resistant than glass, but it doesn't have all that reflection of sapphire. And some people poo-poo Cristerna and think, oh no, it's just another glorified way of saying mineral glass. But no, I did a scratch test with Cristerna and I couldn't scratch it. Now granted, I didn't take a hammer and a chisel, but I did some pretty good things that would have scratched up normal glass and it didn't scratch at all. I'll leave a link to that video at the end. Then we have the case. The case is a cushion case and it's a black PVD coated and it looks nice. It's steel underneath. And I think it's a pretty good shape for a big watch. Once again, the lug to lug's short. Then we have the case back. The case back is a screw down. It says stainless steel, Cristerna crystal, Japan movement. Then it says S000. So I don't know why they did that. It's supposed to be a 1000. Then it said water resistant 50 meters. And this is a true screw down because I unscrewed it. And the reason I unscrewed it, because if you look at the Stuhrling website, it says it has a Miyota movement. And I'm thinking, no way, this is not a Miyota. I've seen a million VK64s and this has to be a VK64. And so I took the case back off and sure enough, it's a VK64. This is not a Miyota movement. The VK64 is a pretty common 2-register chronograph for watches in this price range. And once again, the big drawback is you can't set the chronograph hand. Most chronographs, quartz chronographs, you can set the hand. This one you cannot. Another big disadvantage is there's no running second hand. I really wish Seiko would come out with a 2-register chronograph that had a running second hand instead of the 24-hour indicator, because I really miss having a running second hand. And if this was a mechanical chronograph, you could just leave the chronograph hand on all the time, but this is a quartz, mecha quartz, and so if you leave the chronograph hand on all the time, you're going to drain the battery. So you don't want to do that unless you want to change the battery all the time. Then we have the strap. The strap is genuine leather and it's really thick. And you can tell it's a really high quality strap. This leather is going to last you a long time. Now, personally, I would put it on a deployment clasp. You want to get a black one, of course, because that's just going to make the strap last longer. Now, one thing about this strap, though, it's stiff. It's going to need some serious breaking. Then we have the keepers, one fixed, one floating. And the buckle is kind of thin. I would expect a kind of a sturdier buckle for a strap this thick. Here's the watch and my 7.5-inch wrist. As you can see, it's a big watch. I can just barely pull it off, but it wears nice and flat and it's not chunky. I have 3 notches left on the strap, so 8 1/4. Now, one thing though, the strap is still really stiff, and I think if once it breaks in, I could probably move it in 1 more notch. Here we are in the Lume room. Unfortunately, when one hears the word Stuhrling, they seldom think of good Lume, and this watch isn't going to change anyone's mind. As we speed up the time, the little dot indices fade almost immediately. Nothing else is Lume but the major hands, and they last a little bit longer, but not much. This is indeed very poor Lume. What do I like about this watch? Well, I like the looks and the wearability. I like this thick, sturdy leather strap. And I'm a big fan of Cristerna crystals. What are my gripes and groans? Seriously misaligned chronograph hand that I can't set. No quick release on the leather strap. And the Lume is just awful. Do I recommend this watch? Sure. It's a nice looking watch. And it wears nice and looks nice. And that's the main reason we get watches. It's just unfortunate about the chronograph hand. But just because I got a bad one doesn't mean you're going to get a bad one. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Stuhrling 1000 VK64 powered chronograph, and I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. And if you like this watch, I'll leave a link to Stuhrling. I do not have an affiliate link with Stuhrling, but I'll leave a link for your convenience. Bye.